When I first got into this space, it was because there was no transparency and you don't own the money in your bank account and you don't own the securities you think you own. And when you saw Lehman, you saw that there's a few collateral assets and there's all this leverage and it's a big game of musical chairs for who gets a slice of the collateral, right? Nobody owns anything. Blockchain changes that because it's provable who owns it. You can give permission to rehypothecate them or you cannot, right? So it's a game changer for that. But even in terms of trading, it gives you a whole new set of stuff you didn't have before.
Wait a minute, everyone. Welcome to Bitcoinzilla, your platform for daily cryptocurrency analysis and news. Our mission is to keep it simple. Bitcoinzilla offers engaging information that is easy to understand. Our analysts keep their eyes on the latest news to provide valuable insights via email. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Join our community of 10,000 subscribers and experience the new edge with Bitcoinzilla. Subscribe now. In this video, Raoul will share his views on how did Bitcoin manage to reach a new all-time high of $71,000 before the halving? Is it inevitable that Bitcoin will reach 100K in 2024? What's next for Bitcoin after reaching an all-time high? How will market cycles and volatility affect Bitcoin's trajectory? Let's join Raoul Pal in a conversation about these topics and more.
Crypto right now is $2.7 trillion industry. It'll probably finish this cycle at $10 to $15 trillion. And by 2030 or so, it'll be $100 trillion, right? This is the largest, fastest accumulation of wealth in all human history. It's as simple as that. That's what that chart tells you. Now, what everybody does, and Howard, you explained, there is a bell curve. And you want to be on the left of the bell curve, which is actually the same as being the Jedi Master on the right of the bell curve. Everybody in the middle who overthinks it, it's simple. Number go up. That's the whole crypto thematic that you need to know. You can either do all the deep dive, and I must have done 10,000 hours on this, and I might be at the right side of the curve sometimes, but I don't mind being the left either. Just don't overthink it. The moment you overthink it, that's when you get yourself into trouble and you start not seeing it for what it is, you see it for what you want it to be. Every single person I know, except a few, got wrong Google, got wrong Amazon, got wrong Tesla, got wrong Apple, all of these things. They're all network adoption models. Everyone got them wrong because we can't understand exponentials where growth compounds. And we're seeing it yet again with AI. This is even faster. And humans just can't extrapolate this rate of change. It's that. Numbers going to keep going up. The adoption's going to keep going up.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to know anything else. If you go to the ludicrous thing that Paul Tudor Jones mentioned a while ago, and Stan Druckenmiller talked about, is 80% of Bitcoin holders don't sell.
Ever. Yeah, correct. They're in cold
Right?
storage.
And it's the same with Ethereum, with the staking and everything else. So your actual supply is 20% plus the miners. The miners keep getting halved every 4 years. So you've got no supply. So that's 20% of the let's say of the entire asset class, 2.7 trillion is actually available to buy. You bring something like an ETF and things go bananas, right? The more people who adopt it, the more the price rises. Also, the really key thing is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the chart from Fidelity about the risk reward of assets. It's brilliant. So there's this big white page, all Fidelity branded, and here's a cluster of here's the NASDAQ, and here's gold, and here's oil, and here's all of that. They're all clustered in the bottom. Then there's a blank page, blank page, blank page, blank page, blank page, dot, Bitcoin. It's a alien asset class. We have never, ever had an asset class with this risk reward over a long-term time horizon and this performance in all of human history.
JP Morgan, a leading investment bank, predicts the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, will eventually approve spot Ethereum exchange-traded funds, ETF. The bank estimates a 50% chance of approval in May, but also foresees a potential legal process if rejected. Grayscale Investments, the world's top crypto asset manager, has removed Cardano, ADA, from its digital large cap fund, OTCQX, GDLC, during its quarterly rebalancing. This move is part of Grayscale's strategy to optimize its portfolio in line with market trends. Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki has responded to economist Harry Dent's prediction of Bitcoin's price dropping to $200. Kiyosaki remains committed to real assets like real estate, gold, silver, and Bitcoin despite Dent's forecast of a market crash.
The log chart over time keeps going up, right? The wealth keeps building. It goes from $1 billion to $10 billion to $100 billion to $1 trillion, right? It just keeps building. But your point is really crucial, is very little leaks back into the economy.
Right. And less, I think, if I listen to Fred Wilson, it's like, once you have a certain amount in the digital world, like me, I get scared, and I brought some back, some Solana back. I got scared. I sold some multi-coin. I'm a Canadian. Like, wasn't real to me because I wasn't using it. This time around, I'm playing with the stuff and the Stocktwits audience and meme coins and building on Solana. Why bring that money back this time?
So if I'm right that this is the fastest, largest accumulation of wealth in all human history, right? If it goes to 100 trillion, to JC's point, this is the S&P is worth $50 trillion, or the US stock market, entire US stock. That's 100 years of accumulated
It's
value.
mostly S&P, Raoul.
Yeah, it is. It's 100 years of accumulated value, and we're going to double that in a decade. It's like, this is la la land, right? The amount of money that's going to get made here is la la land. So what do they do with the money? I was speaking to a very famous hedge fund manager yesterday, and he asked his son this, and this guy's deep crypto, and his son is too. And his son's like 25, 26. He said, what are you going to do when you make your millions? He's like, well, I'll keep it in crypto. He's like, but when you take any money out, what will you do? He said, I'll buy property. And his dad was like, well, do you want to buy a super yacht or anything like that? He goes, no, it's a waste of money. So I'll buy property because it's an asset, and I will buy NFTs. When I first got into this space, it was because there was no transparency, and you don't own the money in your bank account, and you don't own the securities you think you own. And when you saw Lehman, you saw that there's a few collateral assets and there's all this leverage, and it's a big game of musical chairs, but who gets a slice of the collateral, right? Nobody owns anything. Blockchain changes that because it's provable who owns it. You can give permission to rehypothecate them, or you cannot, right? So it's a game changer for that. But even in terms of trading, it gives you a whole new set of stuff you didn't have before. Like funding rates are just brilliant, because you can see in real time what you'd have to get from a prime broker at Goldman, how funding rates for a particular stock are trading. But here you can see it in real time. You can see when it's liquidated. If you add that with a bit of technical analysis, you've now got a really nice system to figure out, okay, have we got another leg lower, or is this over? Stuff like that. Like the ETF right now, we don't know who's buying it, but with every Bitcoin, we know every single wallet that owns it.
The cryptocurrency market experienced a modest increase of 2.16% against the US dollar, with Bitcoin's value lingering slightly above the $69,000 threshold. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index, CFGI, indicates that the market's mood remains in an extreme greed phase. After the sentencing of Sam Bankman-Fried to nearly 25 years in prison for his role in FTX's financial mismanagement, attention shifts to his former associates. The cryptocurrency world eyes the upcoming Bitcoin halving, expected between April 18 to April 22, 2024. BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, IBIT, sees its holdings skyrocket past 252,011 BTC to Athena, announces an ENA token airdrop for Shard campaign participants. Monochrome Asset Management, an Australian investment management firm, has transferred its Bitcoin Exchange-Traded Fund, ETF, application to Go Australia. This move aligns with Monochrome Asset Management's objective of broadening its footprint in Asian markets. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to BitcoinZella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.